Hello. In this example we're going to go through how to create or work from an existing report in order to make a basic commission report. And the idea here is to kind of give you an idea of how to create a commission report, but more importantly how some of the tools work and how the reporting suite works when you're adding a report and how to manipulate some of the fields. So to do that, what I've done is I've loaded up information within the sales analysis module. So I went ahead and got data, which lists within this selected date range all the individual lines that took place in sales analysis. I'm going to select a template, and this is just a copy of one of the templates with some fields moved around, and I'll go into design report. The reason that I'm going into a report that I modified is simply just to save some time moving some of the visuals of fields around. I've left a little bit of space on the right hand side. So here we're in a report kind of designer environment. Let's size this so we can see it a little bit better. So we're in a report designer environment that's very similar to other report designers if you've worked with them. So what we see here is basically the template of the report, and if I go to preview, we can see that in preview this is what the report currently looks like. So it's sort of based on salesperson. It has headers set up for salespeople and footers set up for salespeople. Let's scroll down here till we get to a footer. So there's a break. And so we've got basically all the information per salespeople. There's another break at the bottom, and there's the total of the extended price, the quantity or committed quantity times the unit price. We've also got a few other things on the report. We've got things like the actual invoice discount, because we want to obviously take that into account when we're extending the price. We don't want to pay commissions on the non-discounted amount. So these are all basically fields that are there. The only field that isn't one pretty much directly out of the available field list is a particular field for the extended price. So a couple of quick things. What do I mean by out of the field list? The field list is basically over here, and it lists all the available fields that can be used on that report. And as you can see, there's quite a few of them. It indicates their data types as well, so whether it's a string field or whether it's a numeric field, decimal field, and so on. And you can simply drag and drop the fields onto this report as you need them. I've went ahead and done that for a number of these fields, and that's where I got things like the customer number, the part number, the description, the committed quantity, and so on. So let's talk about other kinds of fields. There's also parameter fields. Parameter fields basically are fields that we provide to the report by default, and they're things like showing what criteria was used when you ran the report, whether there was a filter involved, and at the end of this I'll explain that, and what the actual layout name is. So if I go back to the preview, no filters were sent, so there's no filter displayed, but there's the name of the layout, and we pass that along just to help you organize the files that you're saving as you're creating templates for reports or grid layouts or whatever. So that just indicates the name of the report. Another kind of field that's important is these kinds of extended fields. If I go into that extended field or go into the field list, you'll see they look a little different. They're formula fields. That's the extended price field. And if I edit the expression for that field, you'll see that there's the calculation for that field. So it's basically taking into account whether or not items are discountable, and if they are, it's applying the appropriate discount. It's basically a calculation to arrive at the right extended amount, taking into account the sell price as well as the invoice discount. These can get quite complex, but don't let that scare you. They're not particularly difficult to build. We're about to build one, and I'll show you an example. So let's say that I want to add another field here, and that's going to be the percentage discount for that particular item or salesperson or whatever. This is going to be a very simple example, but I'll start by going ahead and saying I want to add a calculated field, and then I will edit them, and the calculated field I added there was 3, so let's go ahead and change its name so it's a little easier to remember. Let's call this commission. We want its display name to be commission as well. Its field type is a decimal, and its expression. And this is where we get into the actual calculation that we're going to use. So in the expression, we're going to use a field. You can use other calculated fields, and in this case I want to. I just need to find the field that I'm looking for. there it is, extended price. So I want to say that the commission is going to be the extended price times a percentage, let's say. Let's say that they get 5% of the extended price. So there's a few things we want to do to adjust this, but for now, I'll go ahead and accept that, and we'll find our extended price, or sorry, our commission, and we'll drag it down on the report. We want to right align it, and let's have a look at it. So there basically is our commission calculation. So a percentage of the actual extended price that'll be offered up as a commission amount. Obviously in some of these cases they're small numbers. Let's do a couple of things with that though. Let's go back. We'll go over to that. And let's go ahead and apply a format string to it. Make sure that worked. And there we go. So now I basically have a commission amount that looks like a dollar value and automatically handles the rounding element of it. I also want to throw a total in there. So I'm going to say cheat and take a copy of that. And I'm going to say that this is a summary, and it's going to sum based on the group. And while I'm here, let's make that a currency type. And let's go back to preview. And what I see now basically is there's the summary of the commission due. Lots of different formatting things you can do here. I haven't changed the font, obviously, that's why it looks a little bit different. Let's go back and fix that. We'll put a border on that field. I want a top border on that. And let's make that Arial 8, because I think that's what the other ones were. And that should look a little bit nicer. So there's my commission. We'll throw a label on there as well. I find it sometimes easier rather than dragging the labels over to just copy existing ones. They already have their alignment attributes and so on. So let's go ahead and say that is the commission amount. And I'll jump back over to print preview and have a look at that as well. So now we basically have the commission calculated and reset on each group. So for Alex Brown, if I scroll down to the bottom of all of his sales, there's his commission, his 5% commission on his sales. Again, you can make this a lot more complicated than this. Let's go back and show you what I mean. You can actually use let's go ahead and say, go back into the commission field and edit the expression. You can actually use quite a few different combinations of things here. Functions basically are extremely useful. So one thing you can do is say, and let's try an example here. Let's say if, and I can show you how you can find how the if structure works. If you just scroll down here, there's your if structure. So if the expression, whatever that is true, do this versus do that. So let's say if the field, let's say inventory, let's make this a little bigger so we can see that, product code. And actually I want history product code, I think, for this one. There it is, sales history item prod code equals SPK. Then I want to give 5%, else or otherwise I want to give 2%. And if I've done that correctly, I can go ahead and change that and preview again. And what we see here basically now is I'm giving, it's a little hard to tell the numbers here, but I'm giving 5% in the event that it's in the speaker category, and I'm giving 2% in the event that it's not in the speaker category. So very simple kind of if scenario that allows me to adjust my commissions accordingly. And I can put labels up here to indicate those commissions or do whatever I want. What's sometimes commonplace in these cases is that instead of doing it based on product category, let's find our commission and modify that again, they do it based on salesperson. So if you're a tenured salesperson, you get a higher percentage, maybe even based on a product category. And you can nest these ifs as many times as you'd like, or use any of the other operators or functions that are available to help you calculate these things. You can give specific calculations based on parts that start with things, end with things, have particular characters and particular positions. There's really quite a few different things you can do here. You can respond based on parameter names, you can do all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and show you how you make this into a report. So sales by salesperson, let's say call this commission. And let's save that. You'll notice it automatically lands you in the appropriate directory. So the directory that I'm working with is sales analysis reports. Let's call this commission. And we'll go ahead and save it. And then we'll close the report designer. So you notice what happens as soon as you close the report designer, in comes sales by salesperson commission. That's now an available report, and running it now is just like running any other report. You click print preview, and now there's our commission report for the various different salespeople. And I can do all kinds of things. I can format that to change the size of the fonts, to break up by salespeople. I can even use the filters that are built into the grid, which is kind of a neat thing that's built into the process automatically. So I could say, for example, I'm interested in only for salesperson 1. And the way that I do that is I just put the salesperson in the column chooser. Let's put the salesperson over here, and then I select them. So I say I only want to look at salesperson 1. And then what I'll do now is rerun the report. And you'll now notice that what I see now is only salesperson number 1. So whatever special rules were embedded in there for them are in there, plus I'm only seeing just the salesperson number 1 information here for the purposes of printing out that report. I can even change it around to say modify this so that when I see this string come in, I can put their specific name or additional information. Again, this is a very simple, straightforward process. You can complicate this quite a lot, and I would imagine in a lot of commission scenarios it does get complicated. This is just the basic mechanics of how to take an existing report, modify that report, add a calculated field, save that report, and see how it automatically adds to the reporting suite. So again, lots to talk about in the reporting area. This is just a basic example, and I hope this helps you build your own reports and do some of the neat things that you can do with analytics for Spire.